Ladies and gentlemen, it's a beautiful Sunday here in sunny Switzerland. Good morning, good afternoon, or whatever it may be where you're listening to. My name is Nine. I'm the host of the Long Haul podcast, and with me is, as always, my co-host, Carrigor. How are you, man?
Hey guys, what's up? Just to mention, it's not sunny here.
So it's not sunny in Portugal, but it's sunny in Switzerland. Take that.
It's not sunny in Portugal.
Yeah, I was just walking my dog, actually. It's really beautiful. It was raining, so it was raining for like 3 days nonstop, or for sure 2.5 days nonstop. And then suddenly the snow melted in the Alps, and it's been a really nice couple of days, yesterday and today. So it's been a nice weekend.
Double rainbows.
Yeah. It's also been a good week. Maybe not specifically for Artifact, but for me at least. We're going to talk a bit about what we've been playing. As usual, I've played a bit of Draft and tried to play a bit more Constructed because we're going to try to do a bit of a Constructed segment this week. What have you been up to, dude?
I played some. Actually, I played zero Draft this week. It was mainly Constructed this week, to be honest.
Ooh, nice.
Look at me going out of bad boy now.
Yeah, so we don't really have a specific structure. I think we've maybe mentioned this before, but just going to try to talk a bit less about Reddit posts. But at the same time, there's been this amazing post from Leafeater. Leafeater, I think, is one of the mods of the main Artifact subreddit. So he had a census. He made like a questionnaire, let's say, in December 2018, so about 3 months ago. Him and another user called Sir Tetris gathered all this data from, does it say? I think it's about 200 players. 2,030 responses. So it's actually quite a very decent sample size, I would say. And it's called, the post is called Artifact Census Graphic. You've had a look at this, haven't you?
Yep.
Extremely interesting. So I've never seen this type of graph. It takes a couple of minutes to understand what's going on, but once, there's basically a section explaining how to read it, and it's very interesting. As always, you have like an x-axis and a y-axis, and the x-axis kind of shows you how much money the players have spent in the game, and the y-axis how much time they've spent inside the game. And they ask people what's their background, what games have they been playing, and then what's their favorite color, what's their favorite card, what do you think about the game balance, the game features, as well as the monetization, so the economic aspect of the game. I have a lot of things I think are interesting to talk about. First off, the first thing I think that strikes me immediately is, also because that's the first thing I looked at, because I have a Magic background, is I looked at what did Magic players say. So Magic players apparently are the subpopulation of this group who have spent the most amount of money, and overall seem to be the group of players who are most satisfied, or were at least. This was from December, remember, so this probably does not translate exactly to what people feel right now. But at least in December, it seemed like Magic players were the one that were overall most happy with the game and had spent the most amount of money. It would be interesting to know how old these people are, because I would also imagine that Magic players are a bit older than all the other subsegments. The other subsegments being Gwent, Hearthstone, Dota, and then just other games just bundled up together.
I think it's important to mention it doesn't have a date, but I think it's pretty clear this is before the nerfs came, the big patch, because at this time everyone hated Axe and everyone hated cheating death, and after the nerf, both the cards were balanced. Mm-hmm. This should be before then.
I think this was it was probably just before. I would imagine. So yeah, we can talk about that quickly. So everyone coming from the Hearthstone, other games, and Gwent subgroups hated Axe the most, or no, rather they liked Axe the most, and they hated cheating death the most. So Axe is actually their favorite color. Just the Dota group seemed to prefer enough Magic to Axe. And the Magic subgroup, the Magic subgroup seems to be the outlier in this graph. They all loved Kana and Annihilation, and the third card was Payday, and their favorite color was blue, whereas all the other groups, they preferred black, and they hated red. So all the other groups, basically everyone with these free-to-play background, plus the other games, they all hated red and cheating death, and they all liked black and Axe.
You think about it, Kana, Annihilation, and Payday are all control cards, right? they're all cards that let you control the board and make extra options. So Magic players prefer.
Well, payday is kind of an economy
But
card, but
you go around making money with the fog mines and Gondar, and then you get all the items and you win the game.
Yeah, I guess it's like a mixed. It's kind of maybe mid-range. I would
Yeah,
not call it like a control card per se, but I know what you mean.
all Gwent, Dota, other games, Hearthstone, everyone likes Axis or enough Magic because go face.
Yeah, exactly. So most of the players, so 43% of the population came from Dota, and I would imagine that this statistic reflects the overall population of Artifact. Kind of also explains why the subreddit is so negative. If you think about it, so Dota 43%, other games 27%, that's 70% right there, just in these two subgroups. And then the Gwent subgroup is 6%, the Hearthstone 14%, and the Magic 11%. So actually, Dota and other games comprise the vast majority of the population of the people who answered the study, 70%. And they all show negative input regarding the economy of the game, the features of the game, and the balance of the game. The only, like I said at the beginning, the only group that seemed to be happy was Magic. Magic players were quite happy with the economy. It's funny how this reflects my opinion. I do feel the same. I did not answer the questionnaire, but this really is like what I felt about the game. The features are slightly positive, not a lot, but just slightly, and the balance is perfect or is at 0. So the balance seemed to be okay for Magic players. Whereas if you look at Gwent, I mean, Gwent has the biggest negative curves for all the three aspects. So really unhappy with balance, really unhappy with economy, really unhappy with features. Dota are all the features are slightly negative, as well as for other games. And Hearthstone players apparently were not so happy with the balance.
I think it's a matter of perspective too, because apparently Gwent was going through a bad phase when Artifact came out. And I think most players that came from Gwent were expecting Artifact to be the savior of all, because I know that the game had been remade and they were putting some kind of weird monetization or something in Gwent by that time. So I think people were expecting the expectations for people that came from Gwent were really, really high. And that's probably why they hate it so much when it comes to monetization, balance, and gameplay, I guess.
Well, on the other hand, if you see, the Gwent players are the players who have spent the less money. So they're quite similar to Dota. So Dota players and Gwent players are the ones who've only spent about $30 in the game, but they're the ones who have played the most. Gwent players, these 6%, are the ones who have the highest average of hours. Dota players and Magic players are slightly lower in terms of amount of hours, but Dota players have also not spent much, whereas Magic players have spent a lot. It might be that these subgroups are just younger people with less money resources, or I guess, and most Magic players probably have been playing for a long time. Like me, maybe they've got jobs and maybe some disposable income to spend. And the artifact is kind of cheap in relation to Magic. If you paper Magic, not arena Magic, obviously, but I find it super interesting. And also very interesting that the Hearthstone subgroup is the ones who spent they spent almost as much as Magic players, so on average about $45 from what it shows, but they have played the game the least. So they're one of this subgroup has spent a lot of money but has almost not played the game. It's kind of a strange statistic to show. I don't quite know how to interpret it.
Well, because people from Hearthstone, you can play arena, but it's not the big core. Most people play constructed. And I think most people from Hearthstone invested a big chunk of money to try to build 1-2 decks. And then they got disappointed and stopped playing.
Yeah, could well be. In any case, I would suggest that everyone has a look if you're interested at the graph. It's in the subreddit. We're gonna hopefully not forget to put the link in our show notes so you can have a look at the post. And once again, props to Leaf Eater and to Sir Tetris. Amazing job, really cool. Would be interesting to repeat this and see how the population's feelings on this have progressed over time.
Yeah, that's exactly my thoughts. That it would be interesting to repeat this.
In other news, basically, there's not been much going on as usual. As we know, we're still all waiting for the patch. Sad news this week that mainline.gg, one of the few remaining tournament organizers, have also posted to say that that this is not goodbye, it's a see you later, but they're set to announce that they're going to stop running tournaments like this week. So I believe last Friday was the last weekly tournament, because apparently they're having trouble to fill the tournaments up, so they feel like it's not worth it to keep on giving to the community when the community is at a halt.
So I guess for ABL, I think it's the other concurrent that's going on every 1 hour or something.
Well, mainline's events they've been mixed, but they've mostly been constructed. The ABL, I think, is for now basically the sole regular tournament organizer. There's the Chronosphere Cup finals should be coming in the next couple of weeks. I hope. I don't think there's a set date yet. At least I could not find it. And We Play is also hopefully going to organize their other tournament soon. But I'm assuming they're also waiting for the patch for more players to, as well as / viewers to come for them to organize their tournament, because otherwise they'll put a lot of money and time into an event that maybe 500 or 1,000 people will see. So it's not probably not really worth it from their point of view.
Can't argue.
In any case, it's sad news. I decided this week to make a meme post saying Valve devs take my energy. Did you see my post?
So much love.
Yeah, I was spreading the love this week. So the post took off, actually. 270 upvotes. I think that's kind of, at least in the last weeks, there hasn't been any post with so many upvotes. And I just wanted the Valve devs to take some of my energy and hopefully keep them motivated so the patch comes out soon.
It's good to see that so many, even though we don't get that much participation when we put our episodes and people talking, it's good to see that it's not all hate in Reddit, because all the people that went here and put the googly eye boy, they most likely are still playing the game and have some interest.
Well, the internet definitely prefers memes to content, so I'm not that surprised.
Moving on.
Yeah, that was that. In any case, I just wanted to say, like, I really hope that the Valve devs are motivated for this. I hope they don't log into Reddit every day to see all the shit posting, because I mean, obviously they're working on other projects. They just came out with a Dota 2 mobile app for betting and fantasy Dota for the Dota Pro circuit and stuff like that. So I mean, they could easily just move on to other projects, and I think it's nice that the community makes them feel a bit of warmth as well, so that they have a bit of motivation to keep working on Artifact. Maybe I'll repeat this again in the future. Maybe. Moving on, I think there's been this recent Artifact Fire article as well. The Artifact Fire boys are posting more regularly now, so that's nice to see, because there was kind of a hiatus of some time without much content. So it's nice to see that they're posting new articles. There's been an Artifact deck tech on Black Red Hyper Aggro. Did you read the article? What were your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I just looked a little bit at it. I didn't dwell much in it, because I don't think that Hyper Aggro has a place right now. Because at least I've tried it and I got my ass whooped. So
it's interesting that the Red Mist published this How I Build Red Black Decks article kind of last week. And this week, Artifact Fire comes out with this Black Red Hyper Aggro deck. It also made me think. I was looking through the article and thinking, why would you play with untested grunts? It seems like most people are not playing these hyper aggro variants. So I thought it was interesting that you would write this article now. So what I thought it would be interesting to do, I went back and looked through Liquipedia at all the major Artifact tournaments since the game came out. There hasn't been a lot, as most of you know, but there's been 5, beginning with the We Play Strength and then there was the Arena League, the Seed Story Cup 10, as well as the Chinese Panda TV Pioneer Tournament, and the recent We Play Agility. So I screened through those tournaments. It was actually not that easy to find all the information I wanted, but I basically screened for black-red lists and wanted to kind of look at the progression of black-red lists over time, across the updates, across the metagame shifts, the development of initially green, blue, storm, and then the nerfs, and then the mono blue taking over the meta, as well as red, green pushing up now recently, and mono red as well. I wanted to see how red, black adapted over time. There's actually it was quite interesting. In Magic, normally what you tend to see, or what people tend to see while when expansions come out and as the meta progresses, is that initially control decks tend to struggle, and when the meta starts to settle down and starts to be more defined, then mid-range strategies and control strategies tend to take over, because they already know what they want to do. Then they have had the opportunity and the time to choose the perfect cards for their deck to answer the most commonly used threats. So looking at do you want to say something?
Yeah, I was going to say, it's all about refining, right? Because when a new expansion or a new game comes out, it's pretty much easier to build something aggressive, because people on the other side are actually trying to make control decks or mid-range decks. And until you refine it, you leave gaps open to people that play aggro will just take it and smash you. My thoughts is I like aggro decks, especially in Artifact. The thing is, at this point, because I've played this variation with, well, not exactly the same cards that you can find in the Artifact Fire Post, but I play with these heroes and other cards, and it worked like 1 month ago, maybe more. I just think at the moment I'd rather play a little bit more control decks than just aggro, and that's why I don't think.
And why is that? What did you struggle specifically against? Mono blue or red green or?
Actually, if you play right now, all I get, I played like 5-6 games yesterday of constructed, and all the decks I was paired against was black red, black red, black red. And
was that priced? I'm sorry, was that priced queue or was that casual?
It was. I played global matchmake. It's the one that looks at your MMR or something. The thing is, when I played against aggressive like decks with Tinker and Sorlacans, I would win, and I was playing a little bit more control variant. If I played against other control-y black red, it would be like draws, or I would lose, or maybe I think I won one, lost one, drawed one, and then all the other games that I played against more aggro, I won two. The thing is, I don't think aggro has a place right now, especially because they're playing 3 black and 2 red, and I still think that 3 red, 2 black is stronger.
Okay, so I also ran a few matchmaking games as well, but yesterday I played a priced queue with black red, with the original black red version of Hoi, the version that placed second on the We Play strength. So it's kind of I'm going to go through the list, but it was kind of a more all-in aggro version. And I played twice against red green, won both games, and then I faced mono black and mono blue and lost those two.
You lost to mono black?
Yeah, I lost to mono black because he just
bought the shop.
he managed to get a couple of early kills into double payday, and so he got a couple of vestures, and I couldn't. I was almost winning. I think I left the second tower at like 6 HP, but I couldn't push through the vestures of the tyrant.
Yeah, vestures is so good,
especially because these early versions of black red don't play Time of Triumph, so it's that situation where the new versions, you would kind of start running out of gas, and then you would play the Time of Triumph and you'd push that last bit of damage. But this version doesn't play that, and that's kind of.
So you went 3-2.
I went 2-2 actually. Yeah.
Oh, 2-2. I thought you went 3-2. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
2-2. 2-2. In any case, that's kind of what I wanted to go through today. Just kind of look at the progression of these lists. One thing that I can say has not changed at all is that all the lists play the full amount of Bronze Legionnaires and Stone Hall Elites. Well, actually, saying that this Hoey list only has 2 Stone Hall Elites, but all of them.
I think most of them use 2.
Okay. So that's kind of the standard pack, at least, of red cards, as well as the Legion Commander and Axe that has not changed even throughout the patches. What has seemed to change a lot is that the progression of the flow of the heroes. So this Hoey list, for example, played 2 red heroes into 3 black ones: PA, Sarlacan, and Tinker. And it seems like the progression is to play more and more red heroes. I mean, inclusively now, mono red is one of the top decks because of mono blue. The progression was that so that in the last big tournament won by Mago, he was playing the 4 red, 1 black with a PA, which is interesting, essentially. The other main thing that I see is that these early versions of Black Red were very focused, or were really, really all in. So it was like people were very high on Sarlacan, and alongside Sarlacan, initially you saw a lot of the Oath. The Hoey list has 3 the Oath. Then
what I'm seeing here, what I'm seeing here is that the list that Ho played, Hoey, or I don't know how you mention his name. It's I think it's exactly the same, or if it's not exactly the same, it's like 1 or 2 cards difference. I haven't seen the full list right now. From the post on Artifact Fire.
Oh, really?
You see,
okay.
It's the same heroes, 3 oaths. I think it's exactly the same.
I did not compare.
At least it looks like it. So that's why I'm saying I'm looking at this hyper aggro list, and I don't think there's a place for it right now because everything seems to be beating aggro.
Okay. Although Hoey was not playing Disciples, is he playing Disciples? Yeah, because he's playing a couple of the. It's not the exact same list. It's very similar. It's like you say, very similar.
Yeah, 2-3 cards difference. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the main deck. The other thing that I've noticed that has changed over time, obviously there were item changes, is that the items change a lot. People were maxing out a lot on the Raftel Signet Rings. I presume because there was a lot of black-red mirror, a lot of aggro mirror, and the Raftel Signet is kind of good at denying the enemy some gold, as well as Quasirim Hourglass. I guess it's also kind of a nice card to have when the decks are kind of emptying their hands very fast.
Yeah.
And the progression over time was that slowly people were decreasing the amount of Raftel Signet Rings, as well as the Hourglass and the Mauls. And when you look at this progression over time into the last decks, obviously Jasper Daggers was buffed, as was Phase Boots. And so the tendency seems to be towards more daggers, more Stonehall Cloaks. Some decks also are playing the occasional Phase Boots. And maxing out on Blink Daggers, because not all decks were maxing out on Blink Daggers initially.
Yeah, I think the Hourglass, which is one of the cards that I like the most in the game, has been little by little being abandoned. I don't recall seeing anyone play Hourglass from all the competitive games that I've been playing. I mean the constructed games that I've been playing.
Yeah, for sure. And
I play it on the control variation that I have of blue and red. But I don't think outside of that, I've seen it anywhere.
Mm-hmm. The other tendency that seems to be present is, like I said, at some point there is a tendency towards heavier cards. So cutting on the early game and pushing towards Spring the Traps and Time of Triumphs. As also Mago also is playing the Lodestone Demolition, which is also a late game card. So there's this overall tendency for the red black deck to get heavier and kind of less hyper aggro and more mid rangey. This obviously might be also related to the fact that Axe is less powerful. Might be related to the fact that Cheating Death was nerfed and therefore Annihilation became much better, and against the blue decks, Time of Triumph just shines more, rather than laying everything on the table and getting completely blown out by an Annihilation or at any cost or something like that.
I can't even imagine when you do an Annihilation and like 3 heroes stay alive because cheating death. That would be so bad.
Yeah, I think, we've talked about this in one of the initial episodes, I believe, but the fact that Axe got nerfed and could not one-shot blue heroes anymore, as well as the fact that cheating death, which was the Annihilation counter, got nerfed due to popular demand, that just made Annihilation and At Any Cost and all those cards so much better, because suddenly your blue hero can live 2 turns instead of dying immediately every turn, and suddenly you cannot. Annihilation is no longer an unreliable card. It's a super reliable card right now, and that just pushes blue a bit over the top, and obviously has huge meta repercussions. And I think this is what this progression seems to indicate. Any other thing that you thought was interesting regarding these decks, or
No, not really. I think the hyper aggro I already mentioned. I don't think there's a big place. It wins a game now and then, but everything seems to be prepared to play against aggro. The variations that you can find on the other article that we saw from redmist.gg. I actually have a list that looks a lot like that one, which is a little bit more control-y. That one has spring to traps and has times of triumph.
And is playing with Lich and Sniper, or are you playing with both? Or
I'm playing with Sniper and PA.
Okay, and how's Sniper been?
It's pretty good when you can kill everything from the third lane or kill everything in the first lane when you got it. Those assassinates, because I think mostly the beautiful part of the card is the piercing damage, to be honest.
Yeah.
And the cross lane part.
Yeah, the cross lane part I think is very strong.
Yeah, at start I was trying not to use Sniper.
So wait,
I don't know. There's just something about the hero that I try to avoid. But
yeah, it's very squishy. You have to.
Yeah, but I can't deny that what it brings to the board is so good.
You're playing on the 5th position, right? And so, what's your 4th hero and the initial flop heroes? What's the lineup?
Axe, Legion Commander, and Bristleback.
Bristleback, and then PA coming 4th, and then Sniper. Okay.
Exactly, Sniper last.
All right. Yeah, the thing with Sniper is he's not that strong, and you want to put him last and hope he doesn't die. Maybe you can get his skill off immediately the next turn, but yeah, I mean he's just.
Yeah, but I tried playing Tinker because I wanted a little bit more control-y version, but it just doesn't work as good. Tinker is also pretty nice because of the laser, because it disarms and stuff, but I don't know. There's just something really cool about being able to do dish 5 damage and kill a creep that's blocking you for a tower win, or just sniping someone on the other lane out of nowhere. It's
So cool. Are you playing any initiative cards? Any take initiative cards, or in that case?
Quick shot. I gotta open it because I
it's
okay.
can't remember. I was just interested because this list from Red Mist, they show fight through the pain.
Yeah, fight through the pain. That's it.
And hipfire. You're playing hipfire as well.
Yeah, I actually thought on going a little bit less aggressive and taking Bristleback out and put Tidehunter. I know it's dubious that he's that good, but we've seen him work really well.
The second place Black Red from the We Play Agility, he was playing Tidehunter, so you know.
Yeah, I really like Tidehunter. I know he's a meme card, or at least was really considered trash at the start.
I don't think he is anymore, though. A lot of mono red decks play Tidehunter, and at the end, if you have to fight through the pain and hipfires to make up for the fact that you don't have any signature cards taking initiative, then I think considering Tidehunter is completely fine.
Because the thing is, I really like the body on Bristleback. He's really bulky, and if he kills like 2 heroes, he gets out of control. But his signature card is so trash, and I feel like Kraken Shell and the ability the always stun. I can't remember Ravage. The ultimate called the Ravage. I think it brings so much to the table, and it's such a pardon the. It's such a table turner because
I have the feeling Tidehunter is going to be one of these cards where eventually, if in the next expansion you have a card like or an item like Refresher Orb from Dota, something that refreshes your abilities, Tidehunter might become a powerhouse card where it just stays there on the table. If you put a Time of Triumph on it, it's just fucking unkillable. I mean, he's already super tanky. And if you manage to get some type of skill or card that refreshes your Ravage, the card just might become eventually like quite strong. It's already decent.
Yeah. Either a refresher. The first thing that I thought about was if in the next expansion you'd get something that would give Quicken, like Lion has, so you could at least use twice the Ravage, because 5 turns is a lot. I don't think I've ever seen anyone use more than once for the Ravage. But a refresher orb or something that gives Quicken would be really cool.
I would not be surprised, because we've heard from beta testers that a few cards had Quicken, and it was taken out in the sake of maintaining the first core set more, or the Call to Arms expansion, maintaining it more kind of approachable, easy to for new players. So it is to expect in the next couple of expansions, which supposedly already are kind of ready to pop out, that at least a few cards have Quicken. Maybe there's some Quicken effects on items or spells as well. So we'll see.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see. Yeah. Are there any other topics that you would like to go through this week, man?
Nothing that I have on my note.
I think in that case, we're gonna leave it like this. I think I don't want to make the episodes too long, but in any case, guys, no one has joined the Discord this week to ask us any questions. Once again, like I do every week, I'm gonna let you guys know that we would be happy if you guys would join the Discord, or if you just write some questions for us in our Reddit topics. But we would be happy to actually invite you to our channel. And then if you want to discuss with us, you can also pop in and we can chat with you live. We want to make this community podcast and keep it fresh and inviting for everyone. So if you feel like it in the future, pop in, drop a word. And if you want, you can chat with us.
Yeah, just not a segment, but I just want to drop something. We'll talk about it on our next episode, but I would like to leave this for the community to speak their minds and say what they think about it, which is things that we take for granted, as in mechanics that we are used to and we don't have here. I'll explain one. For example, mulligans, max hand size when you finish the turn, discard mechanics, sideboards. Sideboards would be more for tournaments, not for here. Hearthstone never had sideboards, and they're starting to make sideboards for tournaments now. Magic has always had sideboards since I remember. Mulligan is actually one of the things that I miss the most in this game. The max hand size, I don't know how to tackle this one, because apparently a lot of people love this thing about having half your deck in your hand. I know you're one of those. Discard mechanics, we've seen 1 or 2 cards that actually say the word discard in this set, but I think that a big variant of most black decks that you see on other games is around discard mechanics, and I feel that this initial set has like 1 or 2 cards that says that, and one of them is actually red. It's a trash card, that golem that makes you discard your hand.
Yeah, the other one is coup de grace. So
yeah,
it's just for yourself. It's not for the others. I think that's why Richard Garfield made the lock mechanic, was to try to avoid discard, I guess.
Discard, yeah. Well, most people hate discard, but exactly. who plays discard loves discard, because there's something really nice about seeing that guy drop his combo piece and be in pain.
I think the max hand size in general, I don't think is a great mechanic, because there's kind of no upside to it. It's just a feel bad mechanic. And ironically, the sideboard thing for best of threes, like Magic is the game for sideboard, but lately with Magic Arena, they've been trying to push for best of one. So, and actually the upcoming invitational big tournament with a large prize pool is actually best of one. So
really,
it's funny that you're asking that, but Magic is actually moving kind of away from sideboards. Which is bad for the pro community in my opinion, because it takes a lot of skill out of the game.
I really hate best of one type of tournaments, because I don't want to say it's really luck based, but I don't know. I feel like the best of 3 is so balanced, and if you lose the first game and you're able to recover the second and go for it, aside from being good at the game, it also takes a toll on your psyche.
I can tell you from Magic, mulligan and sideboarding skills are two of the most crucial skills in the game. Like if you want to play at a high level, you need to be very good at those things. So,
but even if you don't put sideboard, I just don't understand how you do not have mulligan in this game. I just feel that mulligan, when you buy cards and you got like 5 cards, all 7 mana, and we start playing at turn 3. I just feel that sideboard, mulligan would be just so good in this game. It would change it so much.
The other thing also is that it makes the game a bit faster if you don't have to mulligan, because that's something that usually kind of takes a long time as well, mulliganing decisions and stuff. In any case, I think if we don't want to make a segment out of this, we can challenge the community to let us know what they think. And if someone feels very strongly about this, they're more than welcome to come join us, and we can make a discussion out of it in the next episode, I would say. Not to just try not to make this
Sounds good.
long. Sounds good. Great. So I think we'll leave it at that this week. Thanks to everyone for listening. And once again, just wanted to reiterate, we're also in it for the long haul. We hope the update is coming in the next couple of weeks before April comes around. And we're available on most major podcast directories. I'll leave our Discord link. We're also on YouTube now as well, for those of you who'd rather listen while you watch a still image. And otherwise, that's it. Peace, and have a good week, guys.
Yeah, guys, thanks for listening. See you next week.